Welcome to All Caps. Where there is new information in the Ben Simmons saga. Ben, of course, refusing to report to appear for the Philadelphia 76ers, the team that he is contracted to play for, refuses to play for them after one of the most disastrous performances in playoff NBA history against the Atlanta Hawks, and the Sixers refused to trade him for anything but a star player, and we've just been in this kind of carousel of no real news. But then the great Ramona Shelburne, ESPN, has got the inside scoop on Ben Simmons World. The story opens on another night in another context. The sight of Ben Simmons working out after hours at the Philadelphia 76ers practice facility in Camden, New Jersey wouldn't be of note. Anyway, Ben Simmons is back. He's practicing in Philly as a way, I guess, to avoid the crippling fines that he is being levied. 19 million and counting at this point. But let's get to the real interesting part of this story. According to sources close to Simmons, he's upset that Embiid seemed to blame him for last season's playoff loss, when Simmons did not blame Embiid for Embiid's poor showing in the playoffs against the Toronto Raptors in 2019. It's worth mentioning that while Joel didn't shoot particularly well, I think only 37% for that series, his defensive effort, his rebounding, all contributed to him leading the team in plus-minus, him being the biggest plus on the team, while Ben Simmons is all the way there on the right side of that graph in the negative. So I would say that that's inaccurate, an inaccurate take from Ben Simmons and Ben Simmons' sources. The quote continues, he's frustrated that Rivers didn't come see him while he was training in Los Angeles last summer. Simmons doesn't dispute that he didn't reply when Rivers texted and called him several times over the summer asking to see him several times. Let me just repeat that, several times. But in hindsight, Simmons feels Rivers and the Sixers could have done more, like show up at a well-known gym in the San Fernando Valley where he was training. In other words, his position is, why didn't my coach stalk me? If I don't answer someone's calls, texts and calls, multiple texts and calls, and then they just show up at my gym, I'm calling the police. Don't do that. And to add to that, there is this report from September 27, 2021. Ben Simmons told 76ers teammates who wanted to meet with him in Los Angeles to not come, per report.
This is literally the scene from the breakup with the dishes.
This is exactly that.
He was just like, why would I want to do the dishes? And I want you to want to do the dishes.
I want you to want to do the dishes.
Why would I want to do dishes?
Like, this is literally the argument they're having in their breakup. It's ridiculous.
So to reiterate, and again, this is all sources, right? Momo, as they call her, one of the most connected reporters in the biz. Here's what we have. Ben Simmons is working out in the San Fernando Valley, which is a whole nother thing.
Yeah, there's no notable gyms in the San Fernando Valley.
That's a whole other very, very local news kind of angle to this that we're not going to get into. Ben Simmons is working out. His coach and teammates call him and text him multiple times. He doesn't answer. Somehow, either through their agents or representatives or whatever, they do get through to Ben's representatives and say, can we come see you? Per this CBS report, Ben says no. Then, months later, Ben says, why didn't you just pull up? Ben, as we have mentioned, has accrued some $19 million in fines. The story quotes another source, quote, we don't give a fuck about the money, says the person who's not earning the money. If it is Ben indeed saying this, okay, that's Ben's money. If it is not Ben, don't talk about Ben's money. What are you talking about? $19 million is a lot of money. Anyway, continuing. The criticism from this story is pouring in. Here is Shaquille O'Neal. Now, we always knew Shaq in an argument between a big guy and a not big guy, a wing, a point guard, whatever, and a center. Shaq's going to take the center side, but here, let's listen to it.
He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's dominating. We/I.
Who is we/I? Is Shaq like Venom now? Like a symbiote where there's like a lot of... Who is we/I in this situation? Anyway.
The difference between him and his soft partner is he can take criticism without being a crybaby, and he still wants to play. Because me and Charles, we've been on him. We stay on him. We tell him to his face what he needs to do. He didn't cry. He didn't say I want to be traded. He didn't, complain about mistreatment. And that's the difference. That's why I like and respect him. The other guy I don't respect. I've been thinking about it. You're missing a whole season because they asked your coach a question, can we win without you? And your coach gave a funny answer. That should tell you need to get in the summertime and work on your game.
Well, for one, do we like that he doesn't name check Ben Simmons specifically, just calls him the other guy? Is that like...
I mean, that's the ultimate. I like that he's entered Voldemort era, where he refuses to even dignify his vocal cords with the name of Ben Simmons. Is a wild place to arrive to. Just a quick note about Shaq getting criticized and then working on his game in the offseason. Shaq famously had toe issues all throughout his time with the Lakers, various nagging injuries, and in rehabbing for those, the Lakers would have liked him to have spent the summer getting in shape, but Shaq then said in 2002 about coming into the season out of shape and working his way into shape over the course of the season, quote, "I got hurt on company time, so I'll rehab on company time." So Shaq, just a small note, a little hypocritical from the Shaqster, but a small note for Shaq. This is about Ben. Here's a clip from a local Philly radio station that shed some light on the subject. No, I agree with you, Frank. Ben's giving us nothing. He's giving us a big zero. He's giving us a donut with Jimmy's on it, and he's treating the team like a tap mac. He can just get his money out whenever he wants. Next caller on 98.6 The Hoagie is Lori from Tottenham. I don't know where that is in PA. Lori, you wanted to talk Ben. Go ahead.
Hi, yes, thanks, Bobby. Well, my boyfriend is actually dealing very closely with the situation, and I just got to say Ben is really very shaken. He's shook. Okay, Daryl Morey's really rolling in the deep shit with how he's been handling this.
Oh, so you mentioned your boyfriend has some info about the situation. How is he connected to Ben?
Oh, he's, he works with him. He works very closely with him.
A lot of our crawlers, and I happen to believe as well here on 98.6 The Hoagie, that Ben is faking it. Ben is the mental health stuff is not real. If Ben wanted to play, he could play.
Well, I actually happen to know that the mental health stuff is very real and we should be taking it very seriously. For example, I have some insider information that he has been listening to the album 30 over and over and over again without repeat. He's just been listening to it non-stop, and that has got to be some sign of a mental health issue.
Lori, anything else you can tell us? This is great info.
I think with him in this team, with Ben in this team, is that sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Do you know what I mean? And it's really important to move on when it's time to move on.
Well, Lori from Tottenham, thanks so much for calling in. Up next, top 5 Eagles that you'd like to murder, right here on 98.6 The Hoagie. Chris Paul has been named NBA Player of the Week. Chris Paul is 36 years old. Chris Paul has famously credited his switch to a vegan diet with extending his career, with allowing him to remain healthy. He joins Kyrie Irving, JaVale McGee, Dame Lillard as part of the NBA vegan community. And so that inspired us to bring on our vegan resident expert, Ashtyn Butuso, co-founder of Flagrant Magazine, co-host of the Flagrant Files podcast, to help us learn more about veganism. Ashtyn, welcome to All Caps.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to spread my vegan propaganda.
What is vegan? What is not vegan? What is the ideology? What is the belief system? Help us understand. What are the ground rules?
So veganism is basically just about minimizing suffering among all beings. So doing what you can to ensure that you're not harming other species. No one's suffering because of your taste buds, because of your, what you choose to wear, what you choose to consume, all of that kind of stuff.
Are we okay with wool?
Not chill. No wool.
What if the sheep is roaming freely and it just rubs into a post and there's wool on the post? I think you could argue is bringing it a release from itchiness. Is that okay?
That's a really, really good way to swing it, but unfortunately, that's just not how it's conducted.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, bread is a great one. Do we not care about the suffering of the yeast? Here they are, just simply living and respirating and adding to the rise of the dough, and then they are callously burned alive.
If something doesn't have a central nervous system,
got it,
and it can't feel anything, it can't, it's not sentient, it doesn't have thoughts, emotions, those kinds of things, algae, for instance, or I guess it's an okay example.
So algae is fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Silk from silkworms?
Not chill. Let me talk capitalism for a second. Whoever that is, have found ways to monetize suffering essentially. And if you do everything in like an isolated way, if you factory farm, if you can get everyone in the same, tiny little container, everything's easier and you make more money that way, and it's cheaper to produce all of this stuff. And so it just inherently becomes unethical.
Tell me about now just some of the health benefits. Like Chris Paul, again, is credited this diet with helping him extend his career. What are some of the things that a vegan diet can help with?
Less fatigue, your injury healing time is much quicker. Obviously, your heart's healthier. When I stopped eating meat, I was so much less tired throughout the day.
Let's quickly go to a lightning round of vegan or not vegan. Pete Davidson.
Not vegan.
It seems unconfirmed, but I'm going to go with not vegan as well. Ariana Grande.
Vegan.
Correct. Miley Cyrus.
Not vegan anymore.
Right, correct. Machine Gun Kelly.
Whoa. No?
Not vegan, correct. James Cromwell, star of Babe and Babe Pig in the City.
He is vegan, right?
Ashtyn, you crushed it. Thank you for teaching us about veganism. It is a fascinating subject. And thank you for bringing a little more kindness to the earth and their creatures.
Thank you for having me on. That's so sweet. I love that.
You're watching this show, so you know by now that Underdog Fantasy's Pick'em game is the easiest and most fun way to spice up your NBA season. Just pick, you know how this works. Pick over or under on your favorite or least favorite or middle favorite or somebody you kind of like because you like their name, that player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. Underdog keeps it super simple with their easy-to-use website and mobile app. Pick between 2 and 5 players, and you could take home some cold, hard cash. We have Sixers at Mavs on Friday. And you know what that means? No Ben Simmons, but Tyrese Maxey. Do you like assists for Tyrese Maxey? Plus 4.5? What about Luka dropping 30.5? Use code all caps and get your first deposit doubled by Underdog. Sign up and play today. One of the most confusing, very good, theoretically contending teams in the NBA is the Utah Jazz. They've been defensive stalwart for many a year on the strength of Rudy Gobert, who is like a one-person defense in a box. The scoring of Donovan Mitchell has improved year after year to the point now that the Utah Jazz are shockingly number one in offense in the NBA. And yet, they've hit this weird cold patch. What's happening with this team? The relationship between Rudy and Donovan, is that good? They've got new ownership. This is a team that's been waiting to reach the finals, and it hasn't happened. And now the wins are kind of escaping them. To help us understand what is happening with this team, Andy Larsen of the Salt Lake Tribune is joining us for a segment that we call Anal ASMR, where analysis and ASMR come together. Rudy recently criticized his team for not being as defensively strong as, say, specifically Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns. That seemed to ignite his teammates. How was the response to that on the team?
Pretty bad. It was pretty petty, if we're honest. When Rudy Gobert said that about Devin Booker, he tried to pretend that it wasn't about Donovan Mitchell, and yet when you say Devin Booker's name, we all know what the deal is. Rudy Gobert is the straw that stirs the drink.
Rudy clearly has a point. You know, he's being tasked with essentially cleaning up every mess that is left for him. How is that relationship between Rudy and Donovan right now?
The best way to look at it is that they are co-workers and that they are just working together on a team and doing their best. Worst way to look at it is that they don't talk very much.
Andy, does this ring a bell? Danny Ainge, now a member of the Utah Jazz, formerly the GM of the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics, who for many, 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 many years have been harboring this dream of trading Marcus Smart. Do you expect the Jazz to make a move?
It would make a lot of sense. Marcus Smart has a long-term contract, and the Jazz don't have a lot of long-term contracts they can send back. So the Jazz would probably have to send out picks, but the Jazz don't have their 2022 pick, does open up a can of worms.
Andy, that sounded like Rudy touching the microphones. Remember when he did that?
This is the microphone Rudy touched.
Is it really?
This is the real microphone he touched.
You need to put that in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Hold on to that. Put it in a lockbox and keep that, because that is a piece of sports. And in fact, international history, world history.
Dude, that day I was on CNN, on Don Lemon. Like, I will never be on Don Lemon ever again for any reason.
What are the stakes for this team? Listen, the team has been getting drilled. Defensively, they have a new owner. They have new people in the front office. Dwayne Wade is at games now. It just feels like this is a team primed to potentially get blown up should they disappoint in the postseason. Would you say that is accurate?
The small market versus big market stuff is real. Rudy Gobert, I think, would be okay playing with the Jazz, and the rest of the players around him are extremely old. So, unfortunately, they have to do something at this deadline, or worst case in the summer, in order to make this a longer lasting core, or else you're going to see trade demands, you're going to see moving on, you're going to see the next era of Jazz basketball.
And the vibrations from that could be significant. Andy, thank you so much for taking the time. It was wonderful to talk to you today.
Thank you again for allowing me to participate in ASMR.
Gambling news. Here is a in-arena promo that occurred in Philadelphia. I like what I'm seeing here.
Oh. What you think? You want to hit or stay? You want to hit? Let's see what we get. What you want to do? I'm going to hit one more. He said he want one more hit. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, so good bad advice. This gentleman is getting ripped on the internet. They're calling him the worst blackjack player ever. People are saying that he should not get that prize, the mysterious prize. I want to tell you, Allen Iverson, Sixers jersey-wearing fan, that you did the right thing. This is the right move. Do you want your in-arena appearance to just go out into the ether as one of those normal appearances that, like, just never hit the consciousness? Or do you want to be a fucking legend? You want to be a legend, right? It's a win-win. If you hit on 20 and get the ace, the crowd will go fucking crazy. I mean, the roof would have come off of the arena, okay? If you don't hit, which is what happened, everybody sees the clip. We all know what happened, and you get that Q rating. You get the numbers. People get eyes on you. It is now a legendary clip, and there's no risk. You did the right thing. Don't listen to the haters. You're a fucking legend now. Congratulations.
I do wonder, at second 50, I wonder what this guy is whispering in his ear right before he hits the final time.
I was telling him, don't hit. Stay.
Do not do this.
What's going on with Jerry West? Now, you might remember that Jerry West now works for the Clippers, has been estranged for the Lakers for a time, has criticized them, had a notable falling out with Phil Jackson, once the lover of Laker co-owner, leading family member of the owners of the Lakers, Jeannie Buss. Here's the issue. Jerry West has had tickets, apparently for life, given to him by the late Jerry Buss, played by John C. Reilly in the upcoming HBO Max show Winning Time. Now, the Lakers have pulled Jerry West's ticket sometime recently, and here is what Jerry has to say about it. Quote, "It was a cold phone text to my wife," West recalled. "No one had the nerve to call me, but that's how petty they are, okay? And I love the Lakers, okay? Okay, Jerry, Jesus, okay." I love to see them do well. It's great for basketball. I'm proud of everything that happened when I was there. I'm proud of everything that happened when I wasn't there, the positives. But sometimes you feel like you're discarded like a piece of trash, and there's a couple of people over there, not Jeannie, but there's a couple of people over there that don't get it. So Jerry West, of course, was one of the greatest Lakers of all time. He helped them to like one championship, so it's like you can't even like. Anyway, he spent 14 iconic years with the Los Angeles Lakers. He won 10 All-NBA first teams, 2 All-NBA second teams. He's the NBA logo, etc., etc., etc. Should Jerry West have tickets? Of course. Of course, he should have lifetime tickets. He can do whatever he wants. If he wants to go sit in the seat and take a dump in his fucking pants, he should be able to do that because he's Jerry fucking West. Up next, we're going to be ranking your favorite cheeses right here on 98.6 The Hoagie. Coming up next, we rate the Rocky franchise movies right here on 98.6 The Hoagie. Coming up next, your favorite racial slurs right here on 98.6 The Hoagie. Coming up next, your favorite way to slash someone's tires right here on 98.6 The Hoagie. Coming up next, your favorite way to mail in a bomb threat right here on 98.6 The Hoagie. Coming up after the break on 98.6 The Hoagie is Allen Iverson, Jesus Christ. Up next, weather.